Good morning. This is a special, special day. Can you imagine a summit dedicated to arts and culture? That is to be applauded, I think. President Bertolino, good morning. Members of the cabinet who are here, good morning. Board of Trustees, honored guests, colleagues and friends. My name is Ian Marshall, and I'm the Dean of the School of Arts and Humanities here at Stockton. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this Arts and Culture Summit. This summit kicks off a week-long series of events celebrating the inauguration of President Joe, as we affectionately call him. And it will culminate with his inauguration this coming Friday. Our congratulations to you, President Joe. That our president should choose to host this gathering with its explicit focus on exploring ways to strengthen the role of arts and culture in our local communities and throughout our region is both heartwarming and telling to me. It suggests that Stockton, under his leadership, will remain committed to continuing its tradition of a strong liberal arts curriculum at the core of its academic programs and extending that commitment into the communities around us. We are a university that welcomes, nurtures, and cultivates great art and artists. I'm thrilled to participate in this event, and I'm looking forward to our collective dialogue throughout the day and what it will contribute to the arts and culture scene in our region. Just one or two quick shout-outs. My thanks and gratitude to the faculty and staff of the School of Arts and Humanities, or ARHU. In particular, Professor Mariana Smith, who curated the student art in the lobby. I do hope that you get a chance to take a good look at that at some point during the day. I'd also like to thank Professors Beverly Vaughan and Chris DeSantos, whose wonderful students entertained us this morning. Thank you. My thanks also to Professor Caitlin Pittenger and her students, who you'll see perform shortly, and Professor Jacob Camacho, whose student produced the poetry the dancers will interpret. We've tried to do what we believe you do best, and that is give you an opportunity to think and imagine so that you can create. Our goal is to collect ideas and strategies that will be useful to others interested in using the arts to do what we all know intuitively to be true. The arts give us a way, a hopeful way, to think about our world, perhaps too infrequently explored by too few people. So I hope you'll do, as I plan to do today, which is enjoy the conversations, the connections I'll make, both old and new, enjoy the art that's on display, and of course the performances, beginning right now with Professor Pittenger's dancers. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage.
My name is Joe Mancini, and this is called Shipwrecked. I'm setting sail for my trip through the world, my hands on the ropes to untie us from the docks. Though something about this doesn't feel quite right, I still must go to the promised land, big and bright. Treading through the waters ever so fast, with the wind in my back and a cool breeze, with all smooth sailing from here. Wait, what's that? This doesn't look good. Everyone, hold on to your hats. Looking out in the distance, I can see it all. The sky is filling with massive dark clouds, crying hard and shooting down lightning strikes, while the wave ahead rushes towards the likes of me as I turn the wheel to change its direction. As hard as I try, as hard as I might, I can't change course. This must be my fate. Dinner for two with the wave as my date. I must keep going, no matter how rough the winds. I must keep going, no matter how choppy the waters. I must keep going. It doesn't matter what's thrown at me. I'm captain of this ship. Nothing will get in my way. Crash, boom. Big Blue took me out. It's pitch black, except for flashes from above. My lungs fill with water. My vision gets blurry as the ship pulls me down below as punishment from the jury. The bubbles float up. The lower I sink down. After flailing and kicking about, I can finally abandon ship. I find my way up, swimming away from my new past. Don't look back and move on, so the pain doesn't last. I wake up on an island, with nothing but wreckage and scraps. It's just me, myself, and I don't even have a map. Everything has been taken. My crew, my ship, my spirit. Worse than the feeling from before that dared me to fear it. This isn't what I wanted, but if not for Big Blue, I could never get up, gather, and completely start anew. I must keep going. It doesn't matter what's thrown at me. I'm captain of this ship. Nothing will get in my way.
Thank you so much for including the performing arts in this exciting event celebrating President Joe. I'm Caitlin Pittenger, chair of the Performing Arts Program. Thanks, Bev. And I'm much more comfortable dancing up here than speaking, so sorry I'm using my notes. The first piece you just saw was Shipwreck, a collaboration with the Literature Program. Thank you to Cindy King, Joe Camacho. Senior psychology major Joe Mancini wrote Shipwrecked as a part of a course with Professor Camacho, and we developed the movement and took his text as inspiration. We've been working hard all semester in my advanced modern class on this movement material, and we've abstracted the movement from the words, trying not to mime the text, but giving you a feeling and having some moments that we took, lightning and things like that, that were exciting movements. Our next work, my women dancers can exit. We have I meant to introduce you, I'm sorry. Senior dance major, Abigail Bell. Kylie Colmer, senior dance major. And Abby Butler, senior dance major. Thank you, ladies. This is Jackson O'Brien. He'll be performing next. I'm speaking so they have a moment to breathe. He created a piece entitled Together Apart, inspired by Shakespeare and to the music of Bach. He created this himself out of my dance composition 1 class, and we're super, super proud of him and excited to share this with you. Thank you so much for including us. Congratulations, President Joe. And here it is. The floor is yours. Thank you. Sound go.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines by chance, on nature's changing course untrimmed. Eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
Please welcome Dr. Joe Bertolino to the stage.
Thank you very, very much. That was beautiful. Just spectacular. Come, all of you, come up here. Please, come up here. I just need to shake their hand and say, what a great job. Well done. That's one good. Now, senior. Sophomore. Oh, so we have you for a couple more years. Yay. That's great. And there are more following in their footsteps. Yes, Yes, well, you can come up too. You're the, thank you, Professor. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Could we give them another round of applause? Great job. Thank you all very, very much. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that, thank you. And to our musicians, I heard you as I was coming in. You were fabulous as always. If we could, there you are. We could actually come on up here. Come on. You're like, oh, please. Yes, I know. Come on. You don't have to bring your instruments. No. Don't bring your instruments yet. Don't worry, though. We'll get to you. You can carry a whole drum kit. Beverly, would you like to introduce your students very quickly? Come on.
Me? Oh, yes, sir.
Why don't you introduce your students?
Thank you so much. May I introduce my colleague, Dr. DeSanto? He's Associate Professor of Music. Come on, Dr. DeSanto. Dr. DeSanto. Thank you so much. So what I would like you to do, Dr. DeSanto, if you'd be kind enough, if it's okay with you, Mr. President. That was nice, Mr. President. Dr. DeSanto, would you introduce the instrumental students, starting with Makai, and I'll introduce the vocal students.
All right, this is Makai Davis. He is did a music minor and plays in the instrumental ensembles. I've been working with him, I guess, your whole time at Stockton, right?
My time is coming.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, your graduation is on the horizon.
I'm not done yet.
Right. We don't want you to leave. Amanda Rogers, a transfer student, and she is a music education major. Pharaoh. He keeps us on a steady beat. And Lindsay Salati, music ed major. She's actually teaching in one of the local school districts as well. And Emma Gibson, also a music education major. Not yet. She's instrumental studies, but one of our students. We're proud of all these students.
Thank you so much. And finally, and thank you so much again for giving us this opportunity. Finally, I get a chance to introduce a voice major. It is my pleasure to introduce Keldy Panorama. You'll see her, she'll be singing in the choir for our inauguration. We're very excited about that. She is also one of the soloists, and we look for her singing the national anthem coming up at the inauguration services. So here we go, our music faculty, and thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. You did a beautiful job.
Oh, okay, I'll take a hug.
I'll take a hug from you.
Okay, thank you. If we could give them another big round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you for indulging me in that, because I think it's important for us to remember the sole reason, while I appreciate the congratulatory comments, the truth of the matter is that this celebration and this week and all of the celebrations that happen throughout the course of the week aren't about Joe being the new president of the university. It's about the university, and more importantly, it's about our students. And I wanted to, they are the only reason we are here. And I think it's important to remember that in everything that we do. So my thanks to our students who performed today, and to the students that you will interact with throughout the course of the day. I also want to thank the staff who have helped to pull all of this together. This has not been an easy feat. I can tell you that I take very little, if any, credit for any of this. Because really it's the folks that are behind the scenes that help to pull all of this together and make it happen. So to Brian, to Peter, to Dan, to all of the other staff, I'm sure I've missed people, but could we give them a round of applause? My thank you very much for your good work. And so I'd like to welcome you to our first, and I hope it will not be our only, Regional Arts and Culture Summit here at Stockton in Atlantic City. As I've shared before, I want to thank the entire organizing committee for helping to bring this event to life. Michael Cogno, Peter, Michael, where are you? Are you here? Michael, Peter Barada. Peter, where are you? You're here somewhere. He's out working. There he is. Look at that. Okay. Caitlin Pittenger, we just met. Good to see you. Mariana Smith. Nicole Supran. She was out at the table. There she is. Nicole and baby Nicole, baby Supran, I should say. Alex Marino. Brian Jackson. And of course, Dean Ian Marshall. Thank you all very, very much for all of your good work. I am pleased to see so many of you here with us today as we celebrate the impact that the arts have on our community and region. I understand we have about 150 registered folks joining us throughout the course of the day, and that is wonderful. My hope is that when we finish this day, folks will have just a taste of the amazing arts and culture that is not only here in Atlantic City, but here at Stockton in connection with the region. When planning the events for the inauguration, I wanted to put action behind the theme, building a community of opportunity. I love that theme because in so many ways, our goal is to do just that. Provide opportunity for our students, opportunity for our community, opportunity for each other. And so by inviting local and regional artists and enthusiasts and leaders in business, government, nonprofits, community organizations, and education to share ideas and strategies and information, I believe we can strengthen the role of the arts, not just in our communities and our region, but throughout the state and beyond. When we bring people with a common focus together, we can affect great change, particularly during a time when the world and parts of the world are in pain. As I was coming in today, I keep screwing up the schedule, by the way. So I can tell you, just in the short time that I have been up here, I probably threw the entire schedule off to introduce and to adjust, and I've done the same thing for the rest of the week, which drives the staff crazy. So I am grateful for their patience, but during a time of such tumultuous change and pain in the world, I think that pausing to celebrate others, to celebrate our community, to see the beautiful art that is before us in the movements that were just done here, in the music that came from our students, that matters. That matters. Because for all the pain that's in the world, there's also a lot of beauty. And we need to remember that. And at Stockton, my hope is that we will be a reminder of what that beauty is, what that opportunity is to make the world a better place. So whether through the Performing Arts Center or the Noyes Museum of Art, the Arts Garage or Art Gallery, the Performing or Visual Arts, Stockton serves as a catalyst for artistic and cultural expression. And as an anchor institution, and let me be clear, being an anchor institution is not something we take lightly. It is a responsibility to the community in which we live and we serve. And so we are dedicated to community engagement, and we recognize the opportunities that supporting the arts brings. We know that the arts and culture expression have the potential to bridge real and imagined divides in our neighborhoods and around the world. Artistic expression begins with an individual, but it is a gift fully realized only when it is shared. In turn, connecting the personal to the local, regional, and even global. And in fact, throughout our Atlantic City campus, here in the Scarpa Academic Center and Kesselman Hall, you'll find local artwork courtesy of Mud Girls Studio. Yay. This ceramic tile work around the fireplace was inspired by the sea and the pine barrens of this region, blending the textures and colors to represent both our main campus in Galloway and the campus here in Atlantic City. You'll also find their work in our Galloway campus and our Multicultural Center. If you're not familiar with Mud Girl Studios, I highly recommend you familiarize yourself with their inspiring story. Dory, are you here? I think I saw you. Yes, there you are. Dory Papademetrio has used artisan craft and entrepreneurship to help empower women out of poverty and onto a path of self-sufficiency. That is an example of building a community of opportunity. So thank you very, very much for your work and the work of Mud Girls. Really appreciate that. We also continue to look for ways to enhance our efforts to reach more people and expand the impact the arts have on our society. A recent $1.1 million grant from the New Jersey Economic Development Authority will promote the arts and culture in Atlantic City. We're very excited to participate in that. The Public Space Activation Grant under the Activation, Revitalization, and Transformation ART program was created to support Atlantic City as it continues to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. Stockton will work with 4 community development corporations, or our CDCs, as we know them, in Ducktown, Chelsea, Inlet, and Midtown, to implement the multi-stage project and to promote the arts and culture of Atlantic City to a higher level. Stockton embraces cultural equity and inclusion by ensuring that all voices are heard and increasing access to the arts for communities of all backgrounds. Our commitment to community engagement emphasizes the importance of engaging with local communities through art and culture. And I'd just like to give you just a handful of examples, if I may, because we're very, very excited about the grant and the opportunities that it provides and the work that we are doing and the opportunity to expand that work. So for example, last December, we actually hosted a Latin event, a Latin day, if you will, for local high schools where more than 400 high school students, all studying Latin and ancient Greco-Roman culture, came to campus to learn about Stockton's Classics program, try traditional toga tying, learn mythology, and play ancient Roman board games. Well, that's actually pretty cool. I missed it. I got to go to that. That was just fabulous. And on March 10th, the South Jersey Cultural Historical Society hosted the annual Lines on the Pines event. Hundreds of community members celebrated the Pine Barrens with authors, artists, crafts people, artisans, musicians. It was simply extraordinary. And then Dr. Beverly Vaughn hosted our high school choral day, a day-long choral experience on campus for local high school groups. So Stockton is positioned to nurture and mentor our students' emerging talents to become tomorrow's artists driven by civic engagement. And later today, some of you will tour the murals throughout Atlantic City. They're beautiful examples of what it means to build a community of opportunity. And through the relationships cultivated between Stockton and the arts community, our students collaborated with local artists, the Noyes Museum, Create 48, the Atlantic City Arts Foundation, to highlight and honor 4 African American education trailblazers. So you will get an opportunity to see and learn so much about the arts here at Stockton and arts and culture here in the city, and we are honored to be a part of that. I have to say that it was hard not to sit here and just smile as we listened to our students and watched their movements. From my perspective, this is what education and building community is about. This is how we as an institution make a community better. Our job as an institution and my commitment to you as its new president is to ensure that we are building good relationships with our community, serving our community as a public regional institution, which I think is a moral imperative, and helping to make the institution and the community in which we live better. So I want to thank you for joining us today as we strive to learn about and enrich the arts and culture landscape. And my guess is that by the end of the day, we will have all made some wonderful connections and built some wonderful relationships and have deepened our appreciation about arts and culture. So again, my thank you for being here today. Please enjoy your day. As always, welcome to Stockton, and go Ospreys. Thank you very much.
Two quick pieces of business. First, and I'm reminding myself, if you're in the parking deck, please do be sure to get your ticket validated before you go back to your car. And then second, today is April 8th, and there's an eclipse coming. All right. So we had a few things. Thank you for that. So we had a few things planned, and we needed to make some space in the schedule so that you're not touring the murals in the dark. As a result, there will be no concluding sort of summary portion to the day. Right after the second breakout session, the buses will be out in the, I guess, in the back lot there, ready to take you to the on the tour. All right. Termed a visionary and impresario of brand names by the New York Times, Emmy and a Tony Award-winning producer, John Schreiber, became the second president and CEO of the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, NJPAC, in 2011. Prior to joining the NJPAC, Schreiber was executive vice president on Participant Media, the Los Angeles film production company responsible for movies such as Lincoln, The Help, Waiting for Superman, and An Inconvenient Truth. Earlier in his career, he served as president of George Wine's Festival Productions, the world's largest producer of music festivals, including the Newport Jazz Festival and the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. Please join me in welcoming John to the podium.
You know, I almost made it. I almost got here where you were still applauding. So, you know, you have to race. You know, you have to make sure you're here on time. So anyway, it is wonderful to be at a University of the Arts, and clearly that is what Stockton is, among many other things, and that's to be congratulated. And thank you, President Joe, for very intentionally advancing that. I loved watching and listening to our dancers and our young musicians. You guys are the future of the arts, of entertainment. If you decide to get into this business, call me, all right? Here's to these guys. Thank you. Okay. So I want to thank President Joe and Dr. Marshall and Brian Jackson for inviting me to be with you all this morning. It's been great fun for me over the past year to get to know the unique arts community in and around Atlantic City as we collaborated on the first North to Shore Festival last June, and again now on the second iteration, which is coming back to town June 17 through 23. If you don't know, North to Shore is a three-weekend, three-city festival of the arts and innovation that launched last year. It spent, Nice. It spends a weekend or more every June in Atlantic City, in Asbury Park, and in Newark. And in each city, we pack performances by nationally known artists like Gabriel Iglesias and the B-52s and Keisha Cole and Kevin Hart, as well as scores of performances, workshops, parties, and more produced by local arts organizations, nonprofits, and social service agencies that feature scores of artists who live and work in each festival city. Our team at NJPAC is indebted to our Atlantic City Festival Committee and all of our partners here who have welcomed us with so much enthusiasm and so many good ideas. And you may ask yourself, how the hell did some guy from Newark end up collaborating on a festival in Atlantic City? That's a reasonable question, and my advice is ask Governor Murphy. It's his fault. About 2 years ago, the governor was thinking about the South by Southwest Festival that annually floods Austin, Texas, with artists, inventors, influencers, corporate encampments, and he had this thought. He and the First Lady felt a festival like that makes so much more sense in a state like New Jersey, which has such a vibrant and diverse art scene, which has long been a cradle of technological innovation, and which has enshrined in law the kind of progressive doctrines that allow everyone the freedom to vote, to choose, and to create, and to innovate. We are a progressive state, and we are proud to be so. The Murphys started asking questions, seeing if it were possible to create and produce essentially a North by Northeast festival, if you will, here at home. Terrible name. We got rid of it almost immediately. NJPAC, which already books artists not only in our theaters but in venues across the region, put our hat in the ring to produce it. And after a competitive RFP process, the governor's office and our colleagues at the EDA chose NJPAC to head up the effort to create a new summer arts festival in New Jersey. Now, I'm an old festival hand. I started my career almost 50 years ago as a production assistant at the Newport Jazz Festival and the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. So we were more than happy to take the job. We are, after all, the New Jersey Performing Arts Center. So it only makes sense that we expand our reach and work to bring the arts to folks all over the state. And through North to Shore, we've been able to do what we do in Newark, in Asbury, and here in Atlantic City. We don't just produce and present artists who are famous and beloved on our stages. We also offer a platform to emerging artists and present community-informed and culturally responsive events at venues in the community that are accessible to the entire community, most of them free. Before I share a little about that approach through our work in community, arts education, public health, and more, I want to tell you a bit about how the Arts Center started and where we are today. NJPAC was the notion of former New Jersey Governor Tom Kean, who in his student days in the 60s saw Lincoln Center built in an area of Manhattan that was then known as Needle Park for exactly the reasons you're thinking. He saw the transformative impact of that performing arts center, and he wanted to bring an arts center to Newark explicitly to serve as a catalyst for economic development in New Jersey's largest city. Economic impact has always been part of our mission. So has celebrating the diversity of our state. So has serving as a town square, bringing people together in community, in conversation, a role that has become more and more important as our politics has become more and more partisan in recent years. And so has serving as a home for arts education in the state, and of course, so has bringing extraordinary artists to perform for the people of New Jersey. Now, those are our mission points, but how we deliver on that mission has evolved over the past generation. NJPAC likes to think of itself these days, similarly to what President Joe said, anchor institutions have historically been higher eds and they've been meds, but we like to think of ourselves as an anchor cultural institution, right? We are rooted in our city physically. We are part of the landscape. We're not going anywhere. And we can be a place for and a facilitator of connections between all kinds of people across Greater Newark and across New Jersey. So long as we stay curious and inventive, we can do a lot of useful and unexpected things. like putting together a festival that spans the state and that can have significant and unexpected impact. Sometimes the new things we try work, and sometimes they don't, but we're always willing to try. And as I share some of our efforts, I encourage you to try too. I've seen the arts be impactful in so many unexpected ways, so often that I feel confident encouraging you to always bet on the arts as a catalyst for positive change. It is always worth a try. At today's gathering, you're going to hear from brilliant speakers about the ways in which the arts can be a tool to advance citizenship and community, education and health, all towards making positive change for the people we serve. So as context for your efforts, new partnerships and new ideas, in the next few minutes I'm going to reflect on those topics through our own experience at the Arts Center. So first, how does NJPAC employ the arts as a catalyst for change and inclusion, right? The fundamental way we've done this is that we've made the Arts Center a home for diverse audiences and for diverse artists. We pivoted our programming strategy more than a dozen years ago to reflect the fact that the population in our region is enormously varied. If we wanted to welcome our community into our theaters, we needed to fess up to the reality that that community wasn't solely the traditional performing arts center patron of older white folks like me. It was Black, it was Indian, it was Latino, Korean, and 10 other ethnicities and nationalities. Those communities were interested in comedy and K-pop and Bollywood and world music and R&B, hip-hop, Latin music, spoken word, as well as the jazz, classical music, and dance that we had historically presented. Today, our schedule reflects the diversity of our community. Just in the span of the past few weeks at NJPAC, we've presented comedian Ali Wong, classical violinist Josh Bell, Brazilian musician and activist Caetano Veloso, Puerto Rican singer Gilberto Santa Rosa, a screening of a film about the celebrated Black poet Nikki Giovanni, an entire day of dance workshops with the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, Broadway star Kristen Chenoweth, boy band alumni Joey Fatone and AJ McLean, the Trinity Irish Dance Company, John Mellencamp with his surprise guest Bruce Springsteen. I had no idea that was going to happen. In fact, I left the concert early. Who knew, right? R&B star Ledisi and our Mayor Barack are presenting his State of the City speech. This shift, and I'm exhausted actually reading that list. That's a long list, man. This shift has been great for business. We sell more tickets now than we ever have. But it is also in service to our mission because we are a place where people come and feel at home and welcomed. We have the ability to invite them back several times each season. They come to be entertained, but sometimes they also come to participate in difficult conversations when we serve as a nonpartisan town hall. We offer monthly discussions about race and social justice in a series of conversations we started in 2020 we call Standing in Solidarity. We host a monthly series of meetings and dinners between representatives of Newark's Black and Jewish communities to foster collaboration and understanding. We hosted a festival celebrating the work of Newark author Philip Roth, where we not only explored his work, but invited panels of contemporary writers to talk about topics top of mind in contemporary literature today, like who's allowed to tell whose stories. We just launched a year-long partnership with Dodge Poetry, a programming initiative of the Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation, which will bring poetry events to Newark all year long and will emphasize the use of poetry as a tool for social change. Now, NJPAC uses the arts as a tool for education. Now, you're going to hear from Jen Tsukayama, our Vice President of Arts Education, at the breakout session later today, but allow me to talk at a high level about the remarkable work she and her team do. Arts education began at NJPAC before the building opened. We created a partnership with Newark Public Schools before the first shovel was in the ground in the early 90s, offering in-classroom residencies, professional development workshops for teachers, and school time performances for students. NJPAC's Arts Ed team last year reached 50,000 students and educators. All our school time performances come with resource guides for teachers that tie every show to state curriculum standards. And on Saturdays and throughout the summer, we offer arts training in jazz, acting, musical theater, poetry, instrumental music, and hip-hop arts and culture to kids ages 9 and up. In these programs, we're guided by the maker philosophy, right? The idea that kids learn best when they are creators. So our students are much more likely to be found making something, right? Composing a jazz tune, scripting a monologue, learning how to record a new beat, than rehearsing somebody else's. The point is never that the final product is flawless. The point is that they learn and gain confidence through the process. We also take a whole child approach in our work. Jen will tell you more, but we surround our students with care. We have social workers embedded in our classes who are also available to assist the families, right? We have mentorship programs to help our kids articulate and reach their goals. We even have an in-house booking agency so that if our students want to try using their new skills for pay, we can help them earn a first paycheck as a DJ or a band member. Last season, our students and alumni had over 75 gigs. We teach their teachers, training them on how to infuse their lessons with the arts and to lead their classrooms in trauma-informed ways, and how to bring social justice discussions into their schools. Arts education is about so much more than playing scales or memorizing lines. Our students learn social and emotional skills, from creative problem solving to collaborative work styles that'll be essential to them in their careers, whether they become artists or dentists. And as we learn more about how to do this more effectively, we're sharing what we learned. We're contributing to the field of arts education through research, evaluation, and sharing best practices with peers around the country. Now, we use the arts to positively impact community health as well. Only 2 years ago, we launched a new department of arts and well-being, devoted to the understanding that the arts are good for our health, and that therefore performing arts centers are public health institutions. Sort of surprising. I know you all have had the experience of walking out of a memorable concert or a terrific play and realizing that you feel good after having had that experience. Well, it turns out that that is not just a sensation. The latest research indicates that engaging with the arts is demonstrably good for both our physical and our mental health. One statistic I love, attending cultural events 1 or 2 times a month has a similar protective value to your health as exercising 1 or 2 hours a week. I take that to heart. Arts and health is a very new field, and NJPAC is positioning itself as a national leader in it as we are moving forward with a series of programs and initiatives that look to actively use the arts to improve our community health. And this work has 5 pillars. Arts and healthcare, through which we are enhancing patient care and staff well-being by embedding the performing arts in Newark Beth Israel Medical Center, our test kitchen for what we hope will be a statewide program with RWJ Barnabas. Health promotion productions, events and programs often created by our partners that address specific health and mental physical health and mental health issues through performances and productions. An Arts and Health Research Lab, which will measure the impact of arts and health work through a partnership with the Rutgers School of Public Health and the Mason Gross School of the Arts. Training and professional development that offers effective, accessible, and affordable workforce development program in arts and health. And here's one that I also think the world of. It's called ArtsRx, a program that directly increases access to the arts through free referrals to local arts programs by community health organizations. We launched this just this fall, and folks in Greater Newark have been given free prescriptions for concerts, lectures, glass-blowing workshops, and more from community health workers in September. We'll be expanding this program to include students at Rutgers Newark later this year. It's enormously exciting, and it brings the whole Newark arts ecosystem together in lowering the barrier of entry to the arts for the people who might enjoy the arts the most. Now, excitingly, our work in arts and health has helped us unlock some unexpected sources of funding given the newness of the field. Now, we also use the arts to contribute to our city's ongoing economic revitalization. Governor Kane and our other founders, Ray Chambers, former Mayor Sharp James, my predecessor, Larry Goldman, learned many lessons from Lincoln Center. One was that the land surrounding a performing arts center would eventually become very valuable. So our founders secured 12 acres of land surrounding NJPAC as our full campus. We own it. Now we get to redevelop that land and decide what goes on it. And in doing that, we can contribute enormously to the economic growth of our city. So what will go there? Starting in September, we'll be building a whole Newark neighborhood on our campus, filled not only with apartment buildings and townhouses for new downtown residents to live in, but with restaurants, shops, and cultural venues, even a new headquarters for WBGO, the nation's best jazz public radio station. Yes. The residential development, which we're calling Artside, will have 350 units, 20% of them affordable housing. Our own front yard, Chambers Plaza, will be re-architected into a four-season urban park space where we can hold markets, performances, and more. And across the street, we'll be building the 58,000 square foot Cooperman Family Arts Education and Community Center, a new home for our arts education, arts and well-being, and community engagement work. 12 classrooms, 170-seat studio lab performance space, and a whole floor of professional-grade rehearsal studios where professional companies can rehearse and workshop new works, and we'll also be offering space grants in that space. Our campus will, when we're finished in late 2027, be completely transformed. There's a little more. Last year, NJPAC led a coalition that will bring Lionsgate, Newark, a new purpose-built 278,000 square foot TV film studio to Newark South Ward. When it's open in early 2026, our students will be able to take part in internships and classes there, getting a foot in the door in a thriving creative industry in our state. This gets back to what I mean about trying. When we first talked to our board about this idea, this movie studio idea, they said, why in the world would a performing arts center build a TV film studio, right? What does that have to do with the work and mission of NJPAC? But it does. It's economic development. It's a vehicle for arts education. It's job creation and creative placemaking. It offers so many things that we strive to deliver. And it'll add $1 million a year to our bottom line, which will enable us to implement more social impact programs. Well, when we explained it that way, they said, okay, why not? All that is a long way of saying the arts are incredibly powerful. We don't quite know how powerful they are until we put them to the test to see what they might be able to accomplish. So if you are an arts administrator, an arts producer, an artist yourself, the next time someone comes to you with a wild idea, an outrageous suggestion, my advice is consider it, right? Of course. Workshop it. See if it has legs. The arts are remarkably powerful drivers of both cultural literacy and community building. You never know what new, unexpected, and surprising idea might be the best part of your next season or of your career. Be curious. Experiment. Build a coalition of the willing around an idea or ideas that will enhance or maybe even transform the lives of the folks that you are in service to. That's our unique opportunity as arts leaders. I don't know about you, but I can't imagine a better gig. Thank you. And remarkably, we are on time. So there. Okay. All right.
We'll go to a quick break, and we'll be back here for our plenary panel discussion in 10 minutes. Thanks.